Travel nursing can bring you to places you've never been before. Tell us your story.
Good morning. It's Rita at Travel Nurse Channel, and it's Tuesday, the 12th of January. I can hardly believe it's the 12th of January. The days start to just smell together sometimes. I hope you're well. I'm well. In general, our population is still really being hit hard by this COVID pandemic, and the needs for travelers is still an ongoing need. So there's a lot of work. So if you want to work, there's a lot of work. And that's really the message I wanted to say. There's work, work, work. My friends that travel, my friends that are on staff, my friends that work in ICUs and long-term facilities, and professors in college and students and LVNs and CNAs and RNs and nurse practitioners and physician's assistants and therapists and doctors and oncologists and emergency room docs. They're busy. They're busy. We continue to have the same issues that we always have. Our population, we have a lot of sort of lifestyle issues with poor, unhealthy living styles of smoking and overeating and over imbibing and cultural things. There are certain cultures that seem to have more, that are more susceptible to the COVID, and diabetes is rampant in the United States. So there's all that. There's all that. And there's a lot of work if you want to consider traveling. So let's see, I got to make sure that if anybody wants to comment, yep, wide open for comments. I'm Rita. It's the Travel Nurse Channel. I'm here every Tuesday, Pacific Standard Time at 10 a.m. between 10 and 11. And I welcome your comments, your questions, your chatting. It's a wide open live chat on Tuesdays. We are also many broadcasts of Travel Nurse Channel I've hosted in the past are in the archives on Facebook, as well as not Twitter, YouTube. And so if Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time doesn't work for you, then you can just check into the Travel Nurse Channel anytime you want and view some of the previous broadcasts. So they've been going on for a couple of years. We had different names. We were Gold Medical at one time. We were Travel Nurse Channel. We were something else. But essentially, Travel Nurse Channel is a channel, a venue, a way to connect nurses and nursing employers and other healthcare disciplines, therapists, respiratory therapists, radiology therapists and technicians, ultrasound, you name it, MRI, cardiac. We are here for all those healthcare people that travel, and to kind of keep you connected, give you information as we get it, or review information that's out there for travelers and those in the healthcare world. So one of the things with all this work is trying to maintain the balance. And I am really concerned, and I guess I'll make it my business in the next couple of weeks to try to reach out to some of the leadership, the travel companies, the recruiters, the nurse managers, the the leadership at hospitals and healthcare facilities that are so busy, particularly the hospitals that are that have very busy ICUs, very busy isolation units, cardiac units, telemetry units. They're pretty maxed out. And what I understand, like our local district hospital, which is like a public hospital, our university hospital, or private hospitals, that they're very maxed out. Their beds are generally full. All their ventilators are being used. And I do believe many states, California's been one of them, that they are working beyond, outside the range of the recommended range by the Board of Registered Nursing, by the various, I'm going to say the various leaders, I guess I'll say, Joint Commission, for example, that sets standards for patient ratios and acuities amongst staff members. So, for example, most telemetry units are 4 or 5 patients. Maybe if it's a med-surg patient, you might have 2 med-surg patients and 3 tele patients. Oh, hello. Tyrai is checking in. Tyrai Lot says, true, it is true. There's a lot of work, yes. And Gollum is saying, hi, how are you? What's the topic of today's discussion? Well, the topic is always about travel nurses and travel healthcare workers. But today I thought I'd talk about the work and how it's affecting people. And I'll go over some rates. I don't have new news, but I did grab some of my notes about what's going on and what some of the rates are around for travel nurses. Thanks, Gollum. Nice to always hear from you and see you. When are you going to visit us in California? When you can travel, you need to come visit us. But good morning, everyone. Yes, so I'm thinking of my friends, my therapist friends, my tech friends, my nurse friends that are working outside the range of recommended nurse-patient ratio. And respiratory therapists, for example, respiratory to patient ratios, and they're exhausted. The work is a little different when you have COVID patients. Many of the COVID patients are in the ICU. Some are on telemetry units, and other hospitals have created special COVID units, and they require more than one person to care for them and turn them because their respiratory system, other systems as well, are stressed and not well. So they're doing a lot of moving. They're giving them a lot of oxygen, BiPAPs, and so forth if they're not already on a respirator and ventilator. And so my understanding at our little local, we call it a district hospital. It's like a public hospital, and that we used to care for about 4 tele patients per nurse, and that's going up to 5 and 6. And I did a lot of, I had a very varied career, my clinical career, and I did a lot of work in the ICU and in telemetry units and step-down units and all different kinds of nursing. It was a very, very wonderful for years that I had that flexibility when I worked for an agency to do different things. And then from the beginning of my nursing career in the 70s, for the next 20 or 25 years, I did a lot of swing float. I did dialysis, I did ICU, I did home health. It was great. My children were young, so I'd pick the days I could work, and then I would do what was needed of me. So I had a nice, well-rounded experience. And back in the day, in the 70s, the 1970s, yeah, I'm really old, we did team nursing in the beginning. Let's see, I graduated in 77. We did a lot of team nursing. So I would be responsible, say, on a 3 to 11 shift for 25 or more patients. And then we started doing primary, and then ICUs usually had 1 to 1 or 2 to 1. And we had teams sometimes of RNs, LVNs, nursing assistants at the time they were called. Now they're called PCTs, patient care techs, or PCAs, patient care assistants, CNAs, certified nurses. So in different states and so forth, the work is similar, but the titles are different. The training is also similar. So now I'm understanding that on a really bad day, when people are sick or tired, they've done too much overtime, that you could have one nurse on a telemetry unit with 6, 7, 8 patients. So of course they're scrambling. The hospital has to change that. They have to keep their patients safe. So they're probably sending somebody from another unit or a manager or a charge person to fill in those gaps. But these are stressors. You know, you want to do your best for your patients. So so you have to speak up, number one. If you arrive on a unit, you're traveling to a unit, and you're understaffed, the first thing you need to do is find out who's in charge and speak to that person. Say, I've been assigned 7 patients. They're all telemetry monitored. If they're COVID, may or may not be COVID, you absolutely know you're going to need help to take care of those patients. So there's that. Then you have your let's just go to a completely different area. Go to a healthcare offices, doctors' offices, oncology, cardiology, medicine, urgent cares. All these clinics are out there. Somebody is sending me ZipRecruiter.com, jobs near me, 326 plus RN jobs in the Carlsbad, California area alone. Yes, work, 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 job, job, job. There's jobs out there. So, but what I wanted to say is that everybody is affected by this huge workload and the inability to have enough trained, capable individuals to fill in those slots. And I have to say, I have been clinical for a long time. I've been administrative for a long time. I've been a leader. I've been a team member. I've counseled, consulted. I've done a lot of things in my career. And since COVID, and I have volunteer work as well, I've given much, much, much of it up. But now I'm thinking that I need to get back in that clinical setting. And in the next few months, my wonderful granddaughter is going to be a year. And I feel, and my daughter is less than a year away, I think, from her achieving her goal, her educational goal. So I am probably going to get out there in the community and do some clinical stuff again, because there's a need, you know. So, and I'm capable. So I may not do ICU or whatever, but these are the things that are rolling around in my head. There's so much work. And another thing I wanted to say, and we will get to the jobs and some of the rates, because that is another way to recruit, right? So there are maybe ZipRecruiter. I could see how many jobs they have, and 326 plus RN jobs in Carlsbad, a little town of Carlsbad, which is a small town within the county of San Diego, one of many, many, many towns in within San Diego. What I wanted to say is that, and then I will check over the next several weeks with leadership out there in the community, is how are they helping the individuals that are so exhausted. Every time I talk to a friend of mine that's working in a long-term facility or a hospital, an acute hospital, whether it's a teaching hospital or a I call it a district hospital, but it's a public hospital. How are they? How was your shift yesterday? They say, I'm so tired. And it's physical and it's mental, and it's wearing on the psyche, and just, you know. So the psyche, I go like this, the entire body, the holistic person is suffering. And so our healthcare workers, people are people. So I worry about them as much as I worry about the elderly. And that's another whole story. And I've touched on that in some of our videos, the mistakes we made in the early COVID days and how many seniors we lost. We lost to COVID and to death due to COVID. We made so many mistakes. It was just, I mean, our senior living situation is not its best. The settings mimic the hospital because they're really smaller hospitals. Rehabilitation hospitals or skilled nursing hospitals mimic an acute hospital, but they're not exactly. They're not staffed the same. They're not directed the same way. And with a lack of information and then misinformation and a poor supply of the PPE, the personal protective equipment and so forth, and the vulnerability of seniors that already have probably cardiac issues and blood pressure issues and diabetes and, you know, different stressors and different immune systems that a younger person might not succumb to. There's a lot of devastation. I've been reading a lot about that, heartbreaking stuff. So, so my question is, and what I will try to research and come back to you with next week, is how are we helping the healthcare workers that are put in these compromising situations of taking care of more acute patients without meeting the ratios that are recommended by what do I want to say, the organizations like the Joint Commission and the Board of Registered Nursing and those that create standards to work by. So if you're taking care of 6 or more telemetry patients or 2 or more ICU patients, you're not working at the best recommended standard. So you're stressed because you can't do what you'd like to do and do it the best you can. 2 people call in sick and everything is a mess, and you're physically overtaxed. People get a little, they're like, we need you here. Well, you're needed where you are, you know, and so you're stretched and stressed and overworked. And then because of that, your leaders are going, can you work an extra shift this week? Can you come back tomorrow? And you have to always be ready to think about it. So if somebody comes to you and you're having a very busy, very stressful shift and you're scheduled off the next day and somebody comes to you and say, can you come in tomorrow? You have to give yourself time to think about it. Say, let me get back to you about that. It's not that you don't want to do it and you don't want to help the team. But if you don't get your R&R, if you don't get your rest and some fresh air and some good rest, then you might be the next one calling in sick and you know, going too far. So what I'm wondering is what we can do, where we can direct our healthcare workers to recoup, rejuvenate, refresh themselves. Can we, and I know the community is doing what they can. They send in lunches and dinners and gift bags and, you know, granola bars and hand sanitizer and, you know, they try to recognize that they are going, our first responders our staff that are in, our travelers and our staff members that are in the thick of it in these facilities, in these hospitals, and with all this extra stress and strain and work that we in the community, healthcare and non-healthcare, are doing what we can to cheer them on and help them in any way we can. But we probably need to take additional steps, and I will find out who may be doing that. Like having maybe free shoulder massages, you know, setting up a area like, a rest area, like we do sometimes for firemen, a place where they can rest and refresh and regroup and all of that during emergency situations. So maybe they can get their shoulders massaged. Maybe they can just, get a mask and lie down and relax. Maybe they can speak to a counselor. Maybe they can attend special classes or viewings of ways to help themselves refresh and regroup and so forth. And if they're not finding time for exercise, maybe providing something in the parking lot where on their day off or their hours off, they can strengthen themselves, their muscles. I'm kind of concerned, I had an accident, you all know, I don't know if you can see my scar. I broke my wrist. The scar is kind of minimizing. It's there. It's there. Anyway, but that stopped me from exercising. I was one-handed. It disabled me for a while. So I really feel like I'm not as strong as I was the pre-accident, pre-COVID. I walked the dogs and so forth, but I didn't do any weight training or proper stretching and so forth. So things that you can do to refresh and restore your mental and physical health to make you, to help you get through your work. I'm really looking forward to finding out what's out there and who's providing it and the results of it. We're very, very concerned about getting people treated. Most of my active healthcare cohorts, friends, nurses, doctors, etc., have gotten their vaccine. Some are on this, have completed the 2 shots, so that's great. And then I talked to one doctor yesterday. He's really a character and a lot of fun. He had his first vaccination, and he didn't really react so much. A little soreness on his left arm where he got it, but he literally days later felt that, well, he knew. He showed me his lymph node had swelled a little bit. He didn't have any signs of being sick, but he felt that the vaccination and the treatment he got, I'm pretty sure it was Pfizer, that he was building antibodies as we spoke because his lymph node was swollen, and he sort of felt like, that lymph node is definitely, it's related to exactly where I got my shot and so forth. Anyway, so he had his first shot. Many of my friends in the hospital, that oncologist I talked to was in a healthcare center in a doctor's office, seeing his patients, busy, at least 20 minutes behind schedule for whatever reason. But my friends that have gotten both shots, they said it's sort of the normal amount of soreness. As far as I know, personally, nobody's had reactions to the vaccine. We're really anxious to see after after the second shot, if there is some immunity and some antibodies. So that'll be another phase. I don't know when that will happen, if they'll start testing for antibodies, but we certainly hope so. We certainly hope so, with all their hard work, that they don't get sick as well. And that has happened. Some healthcare workers have, and some of them have and gotten through it and are back in the workplace. So, all right. So let's talk about all this work, and where is it? It's everywhere. And what do you get paid for it? Now, these notes are from, did I write a date here? No, but this is from a couple of weeks ago. Data that I pulled off the internet. And first 3 companies, just randomly, the first 3 companies I saw. Oh, see, that's a problem. We shouldn't be touching our face. I mean, I'm home. I'm not going to see anyone, but I keep sanitizer here. But touching, you just don't know where the germs are. So wash your hands. I'll go ahead and sanitize my hands right now. So the first 3 companies I saw on the internet were offering some of the following. $6,900 a week. Last time I was here, somebody asked me if $8,000 a week was being offered. Yes, I'm sure it is. There are some travel assignments that are short-term, so you might get $8,000 a week for, say, 3 weeks. But this was a 13-week travel assignment, and they were offering $6,900 a week for nurses to travel. Other ones were offering free housing, other benefits and bonuses above and beyond what the normal travel package would include. So this is the Bay Area. I saw between $6,510 and $7,637 a week. That's pretty close to $8,000. And on average, travelers working now during the coronavirus, if they're working full-time, are making close to $100,000. So there is a lot of need. Where are the needs? Throughout the United States. Texas, definitely. California, San Francisco, Los Angeles, definitely. New York, definitely. Compact states, yes, they're still looking for nurses. They want local travelers. They'll take first-time travelers. Teaching facilities need travelers. There are jobs throughout the states, and what other comment did I want to make? There are jobs for nurses, therapists, techs. There are jobs for advanced practice, physician's assistants, nurse practitioners. There's work, there's work, there's work. And some of the rates are quite good. So there's that. That's what I wanted to say. There's a lot of work, and I appreciate you all who are doing the hard work. And I'm going to find out what's out there and what you can maybe reach out for yourselves to get through this heavier workload, this physical, mental, psychological time in a pandemic world. That what we can do as a humanity, as an issue of humanity, we have to consider you that are on the front lines and doing the bulk of the work to help us get healthy. So I thank you and I applaud you, and I will find out what may be there for you that may help you further. Kind of all I have to say. Let's see. It's 10:33. I did start a little late. There were glitches with my computer again. I don't know. I'm not very good. I can only troubleshoot to a certain point, and I need to reach out for help, which I got. So I actually only got on 4 minutes late, I think. So this is Rita at the Travel Nurse Channel. We hope we're a home away from home, a place you can come and visit and talk about all things travel, all things healthcare, things about you. Did I have a joke for you today? I had the art of the chart. Oh yeah, sometimes there's still a lot of narrative, even in ICUs and so forth, with all of our wonderful computer programs and charting programs and so forth. But somebody picked this up and threw it on this little note that I have. I have a bunch of notes. And it says reflexes. This is somebody's charting. Reflexes in the upper extremities are normal and symmetrical. Lower extremities show an absent right ankle compared to the left. Absent what? Something in the right ankle was absent compared to the left. Maybe pulses, maybe something. Palpable pulses, I don't know. That's a funny little charting faux pas. Excuse me. Get some of my liquids going. So let me see if I can click on this. I don't think I can I? No. Okay, so if you want to find out about jobs near you, somebody sent in to me 326 plus RN jobs in Carlsbad, California. That's one little town in one little part of San Diego County. So there's work, work, work. They also sent me ZipRecruiter site. So ZipRecruiter.com/n/RN-jobs-near-me. Another site for many, many jobs for travelers. The ZipRecruiter, there's many, many recruiters out there. That is another whole topic as well, because sometimes you will fill out an application on one of these recruiting sites, right? And if you can, try to find out when the date that was posted. If that was posted in November 2020, and here we are in January 2021, January 12th, chances are that job may not exist. So the best thing, in my opinion, is to talk to someone and speak with them and give as much information about yourself as possible and say, I am seeking a travel assignment. I am seeking full-time work. I am seeking part-time work. Can you connect me with a recruiter to speak about that? That's what I would do before you start filling out reams and reams of experience and so forth. This is from somebody that knows and has filled out reams and reams of paperwork in my research to find out where the jobs are and not heard back at all. So know that when you go to these big recruitment sites, this is nothing, this is not against ZipRecruiter. This is not against any of the big Indeed and all these networks that advertise for work, because there is work. But spending time filling out paperwork, when you have a specific job in mind, specific dates that you can travel and so forth, my recommendation is to speak to someone as soon as possible. Because once the process starts and you have a connection and they know you want to work in the ICU, or you want to work in a clinic, or you want to work in an oncology center, you have experience here, you have experience there, you have references ready to go, licenses in the states you want to work in and so forth. You know, things will move much quicker with that specific information instead of providing a lot of broad information and it just landing somewhere that's non-specific. So my recommendation is to speak to someone. There are many, many jobs. There are some great rates, and you might have that in mind too. Say, I understand I can make $6,000 in, you know, San Francisco. I'd like to travel to San Francisco. I have a nursing license in California. So if you have that information and you can speak to somebody in the know, that may speed things up for you. So I did want to say that. There's lots of work. I thank you for all your hard work. I will be back every Tuesday. I am going to work on finding out what we can do for you, what's going on, what employers are doing for you, what your recruiting companies are doing, what your nurse managers are doing, what the hospitals are doing, what the long-term, the LTACs, long-term acute care facilities, clinics, and the many, many facilities that employ nurses and travel healthcare workers. What's being done for you besides offering you a job and committing to, you know, whatever your benefits, whatever you're going to get for them, but what they're doing for you in a stressful time. And that's what I wanted to say today. I hope you're well. I hope you stay well. I'll keep checking in. And I hope if I'm not reaching you on a topic that is of interest to you, please let me know and we can change it up. Take care of yourselves, please. You take really good care of others, so please take care of yourselves. I know you're overworked and overtaxed in many, many ways. I feel for you. I feel for you. I'm in my nice little bubble doing research and talking to you here. But I think I am going to get back. And when I do, I'm goaling for the next few months, maybe April-ish. So I'll make sure it's not a Tuesday so that I can still check in with you on Tuesdays. But also know the Travel Nurse channel is archived. We have many, many episodes archived over the years. So if you can't check in on a time that I'm broadcasting, which usually is Tuesdays, Pacific Standard Time at 10 a.m., If you want to speak to me and that's not a convenient time, please call me. It's 800-737-6518. You can email me, Rita@travelnursechannel.com, Rita@travelnursechannel.com, and we can set up a time to talk and chat and video, and then I can broadcast it when I do broadcast on Tuesdays, so with your permission. So thank you, everyone. Thank you very, very much. I think of you all the time, and I'm here for you, and I wish you well. I'm going to sign off. Have a beautiful Tuesday, and I'll see you next Tuesday. I'll sign off with our little commercial that I think is so adorable. I hear another one's in the works, so be on the lookout for that. Take care.
Travel nursing can bring you to places you've never been before. Tell us your story.